अस्य च भेदाः सात्वततन्त्रे विष्णोस्तु त्रीणि रूपाणि पुरुषाख्यानि यतो विदुः एकं तु महतस्रष्टे द्वितीयं तु अण्डसंस्थितं तृतीयं सर्वभूतस्थं तानि ज्ञात्वा विमुच्यते. The Satvata Tantra describes the different forms of the Purusha. Vishnu has three forms called Purusha. The first, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy, Mahat. The second, Garbhodashayi, is situated within each universe. And the third, Shirodashayi, lives in the heart of every living being. He who knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya.
1 to 20, up to 1 to 27.
Today is 29th of May. 1.2.9 to 1.2.27. Vishnuriti Swayam Rupasya. Ekam tu Mahasta Swashtra. Prakrtir Antaryami Sankarshana Rupam. In this verse, Vishnu refers to the original Supreme Lord, the Swayam Rupa. So when you see Vishnostu Trini Rupani, Vishnu has three forms. This means the original form, Swayam Rupa, has three forms. Swayam Rupa is Krishna. Krishna is also sometimes referred to as Vishnu. Vikriditam Vrajavadubhischa idam cha Vishnu. Famous verse about Rasa Panchathyaya. So there you read about the Supreme Lord Krishna as Vishnu. Many verses actually you'll find. There are many places. The first Purusha, Sankarshana, is the super soul of Prakriti. The second, Pradyumna, is the super soul of four-headed Brahma. And the third, Aniruddha, is the super soul of each of the Jivas. Atra Prathamam. Yatha Ekadashi. Bhuteryada Panchabhiratma Srishtaihi Puram Virajam Virachaya Tasmin Swamshena Vishta Purushabhidhanam Avapanarayana Adidevaha. The first of these three is described in the 11th canto, when the primeval Lord Narayana created the universe out of the 5 elements produced from himself and then entered within it by his own plenary portion. He thus became known as the Purusha. Adidevaha Narayana Swayam Prabhu Yada Atmana Sankarshanena Srishtehi Utpaditehi Tasya Tat Rupam Purushavatarattvena Akhyayate. So he thus became known as Purushavatara, which indicates that he became known as a Purushavatara. The supremely independent Lord of Vaikuntha, Sri Narayana, expanded himself as Sankarshana, the first Purusha, who produced from his own body the 5 elements of creation, earth, water, fire, air, ether, from which he fashioned the egg-like universes. He then entered each egg as Pradyumna, the second Purusha. Brahma Samhitayam cha Tasminnavirabbhulinge Mahavishnu Jagatpatihi Sahasrashirsha Purushaha also Ityadi. Sahasrashirsha Purushaha Ityadi. Where did the... Just a minute. Something is wrong. It's not displaying properly. Ityadi. Okay, it comes here. Yeah, okay. Also, the Brahma Samhita states the Lord of the universe, Mahavishnu, became manifest near that partial expansion of the Supreme Narayana. He possesses thousands of heads. Narayana sa Bhagavan apas tasmat sanatanat avirasit karanarno nidhi sankarshanatmakaha yoga nidram gatas tasmin sahasramsha swayam mahan. The same Mahavishnu is known as Narayana in this mundane world. From that eternal person has sprung the vast expanse of spiritual water, the causal ocean, which is the subjective portion of Sankarshana. This is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Subjective portion is the same as plenary portion. Who abides in the Paravyoma? The above mentioned Supreme Purusha Mahavishnu with thousands of subjective portions reposes in the state of divine sleep, Yoga Nidra, in the waters of the causal ocean. Tad Roma Bila Jaleshu Bijam Sankarshanasya cha Haimanyandani Jatani Mahabhuta Vrittani tu Ityetadantam. This passage ends by saying the spiritual seeds of Sankarshana existing in the pores of Mahavishnu's skin are born as so many golden sperms. These sperms are covered with the 5 great elements. Mahavishnu originates as an expansion of Narayana, the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is a partial expansion, linga, of the Swayam Rupa, personality of Godhead, Krishna. Mahavishnu appears within Narayana, or more exactly, near him. In one corner of his Vaikuntha realm, he becomes manifest, Avirabhut, in the sense of making his appearance in the causal ocean to glance at Prakriti. To dispel any doubts that Mahavishnu is certainly that expansion of Narayana whose acts of creation are described in the Vishnu Purana, it is mentioned here that the waters of creation emanate from him. Apo Nara iti prokta apo vai narasu namaha ayanam tasitah purvam tena narayana smritaha. The water from which the material creation evolves is called Nara because it is born from Nara, the Supreme Person. Because that Supreme Person is the primeval origin of these waters, the scriptures remember him as Narayana. This is from Vishnu Purana. Since the water of the causal ocean is produced from the body of Sankarshana Mahavishnu, it is termed Sankarshanatmaka. Lord Mahavishnu lies down on that ocean, resting on the bed of Anantashesh. Therefore, he is called Karanarnavashayi. He glances at material nature, thus impregnating her with the seeds of the universes and the spiritual sparks who will populate those universes. Germinating within the womb of Prakriti, the seed-like universes develop into golden eggs. Lord Mahavishnu then expands himself thousands of times, or rather countless times, as the Pradyumna Garbhodaka Shayi Vishnu in all the universal eggs. So inside each universe, he appears as a Garbhodaka Shayi Vishnu. Lingamatra Swayam Rupasya Bheda Udiritaha. The word Lingam in Brahma Samhita 5.10, quoted above, indicates a particular expansion of the original Swayam Rupa Lord. Srila Krishna's Kaviraj writes about the first Purusha incarnation in the Chaitanya Charitamrita at Adi Leela and also at Madhya Leela, where he describes Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami. Srimad Bhagavatam 131 also depicts Lord Mahavishnu. Jagrahe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibhi Sambhutam Shodashakalam Adav Lokas Sasrakshaya. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus at first, there was a creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. And Srila Sanatana Goswami's Srimad Bhagavatam, the second part, describes Mahavishnu's expansion as Lord Mahakala, who resides beyond the universe's outer shell of Pradhana. We'll have ample opportunity to see all that. So that was Mahavishnu, Karanodaka Shayi Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, who lies on the Karana Samudra, the causal ocean. Dvitiyam, Yatha, Tatraiva, Tadhanandaram, Pratyekam evam ekamshad vishati swayamiti. The second Purusha is described in the very next passage of the Brahma Samhita. The same Mahavishnu enters into every universe as his own separate subjective portions, as his own plenary portions. Here, evam means in this way, or in other words, in the same transcendental way, that he glances at Prakriti, impregnating her without becoming at all entangled. Mahavishnu enters each universe in a separate form as a second Purusha. Some manuscripts of the Brahma Samhita record Pratyandam for this verse instead of Pratyekam. but this creates no real difference in meaning. Garbhodakashayah Padmanabhosau Aniruddhakah iti Narayana Upakhyana Uktam Moksha Dharmake Soyam Hiranya Garbhasya Pradyumnatve Niyamakaha. In the Narayaniya section, yes, this is a quotation from Mahabharata. I think we'll see it here also. In the Narayaniya section of the Moksha Dharma, Lord Padmanabha, who lies on the Garbha ocean, is called Aniruddha. This same Garbhodakashayi Vishnu as Pradyumna is the controller of Hiranyagarbha Brahma. Strictly speaking, from the Chaturvyuha in Vaikuntha, the first Vishnu Purusha expands from Sankarsana, the second from Pradyumna, and the third from Aniruddha. Yet sometimes these names are used freely for any or all of the three. They're all forms of the same Supreme Person. We should thus not fault the Narayaniya narration in the Mahabharata for referring to Garbhodakashayi, the progenitor of Brahma, as Aniruddha. Asman Murtis Chaturthiya Sasrajat Cheshmavyayam Sahi Sankarshanah Proktah Pradyumnam Sopyajijana Pradyumna Chaniruddhoham Sargo Mama Punah Punah Aniruddha Tato Brahma Tannabhit Kamalodbhavaha. My fourth personal form generated is infallible expansion known as Sankarshana. Sankarshana further expanded as Pradyumna, and from Pradyumna came Aniruddha. Thus, I expanded myself again and again. Brahma came from Aniruddha, appearing on the lotus growing from his navel. Yes. Aniruddho hi lokana mahan atmeti kathyate yoso vyaktatvam mahapanno nirmamecha pitamaha. Aniruddha is known as the supreme soul of all the worlds. Assuming the manifest form of the universal body, he gave birth to Brahma, the forefather of all beings. And then you have Bhagavatam, which says that Brahma appears on the lotus that grows on the second Purusha. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop the stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material and ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence. Okay. These two verses of the Bhagavatam indicate that since the Supreme Lord never actually has a material body, conceiving of the universal form as the body of God helps materialistic persons purify their intelligence. The universal form is not Garbhodakashayi Vishnu's body, but Brahma's. This is coming from Gopi Pranandu. It is subtler than the four-headed body Brahma later acquires, and it is sometimes called Hiranyagarbha. The Purusha's own body, on the other hand, is Vishuddham Sattvam. This is coming from Baladevi Devusha. Pure spirit, and Urjitam, innately endowed with self-manifested, unlimited consciousness, appearing in his perfect, incorruptible body within the universe. The second Purusha gives birth to Hiranyagarbha Brahma. Then, as a super soul within that universal body, the Lord guides Brahma. He's the inner ruler of Brahma. The Garbhodakashayi Purusha is described in some detail in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Virat Rupa expansion from the second Purusha is explained in several chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, including chapter 6 of the second canto. Lord Mahavishnu's appearance as the Mahapurusha incarnation on Brahmaloka is described by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Tritiyam. Athayattu Tritiyam Syad Rupam Tachapya Drishyata Kechit Swadehantariti Dvitiya Skandha Padyataha Iti Purushavatara Nirupanam. The third Purusha. The third of these forms is discerned from the verses of the second canto beginning Kechit Swadehanta. Okay, here is that verse. Kechit Swadehantar Hridayavakashe Pradeshamatram Purusham Vasantam Chaturbhujam Kanja Rathanga Shankha Gadadharam Dharanaya Smaranti. Others conceive of the personality of God residing within the body, in the region of the heart, and measuring only 8 inches, with 4 hands carrying a lotus, a wheel of a chariot, a conch shell, and a club, respectively. Now, here, this is while teaching how to meditate on the super soul. This alternate method of meditation is presented. There, he gives this information that some actually meditate on this person. As Srila Shukadeva reveals in this verse and subsequent verses, the third Purusha, the Lord of the Milk Ocean, enters the heart of every living being in the appropriate size. In the case of human beings, Lord Kshirodkashayi Vishnu's form is the height of 1 pradesha, the distance between the tips of a person's extended thumb and index finger. The third Purusha is also described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tarjanyangushtayor Vistrutayor Yavadantaram sa pradesha kathyate. So pradesha means the distance between these 2 fingers. He is meant to be meditated upon like this. Tritiya Purushaha Pradesha Matra Tadrig Vigraha Taya Sarva Jiva Hrid Gato Dhyaya iti. He is meant to be meditated as being in the heart of all the Jivatmas in a form that measures 1 pradesha, this much. So it is not that the Supreme Lord actually is limited in size. Rather, this is a dhyaya rupa. It is a form for meditation. Atha gunavataraha. Gunavataras tatratha kathyante purushadiha Vishnur Brahma Charudrascha Siti Sargadi Karmane. Next, the Gunavataras. The Guna incarnations are said to appear from the Purusha as Vishnu, Brahma, and Rudra for the purposes of maintenance, creation, and destruction, respectively. These 3 avatars appear from the Supreme Lord's second Purusha form, Garbhodakashayat, Pradyumnat. Yatha Prathame, as stated in the first canto. Sattvam Rajastama iti Prakritir Gunastair Yuktah Parah Purusha Eka Ihasya Dhatte Sthityadaye Hari Virinchi Hareti Sangya Shreyamsi Tatra Khalu Sattvatano Nrinam Syuh iti. As is stated in the first canto, the transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the 3 modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the 3 qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, respectively. Of these 3, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness. Parapurushaha Garbhodakashayaha Eka eva asya jagataha stityadaye palana sarga samharartham So he becomes separate controllers of each of these 3 modes. Vibhinna. Hari Virinchi Hara iti Sangyadatte. He assumes 3 different names. Hari, Virinchi, and Hara. Virinchi is the name of Brahma. Hara is the name of Shiva. Hari is Vishnu's name. Tathapi, Trishu Madhye, even then amongst these 3, Sattvatano Harereva Heto, Nrinam Shreyamsi. But human beings are benefited only from Lord Hari, who controls Sattva-guna. Dharmartha Kama Moksha Lakshanani Syuhu. So in that way, they can attain their benefit in the form of Dharmartha Kama Moksha. Natu Virinchi Harabhyam, Rajas Tamas Tanubhyam, not from the other 2 Gunavataras, Brahma and Shiva. This transcendental personality of Godhead is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who expands himself separately as each of the 3 Gunavataras. The 4-fold goals of human life, religiosity, economic success, sense gratification, and liberation, can be fully realized only by worshipping the avatar of the mode of goodness, Vishnu. Tatra Karika, an explanatory verse. योगो नियामकतया गुणैः सम्बन्ध उच्यते अतः सत्तैर्न युज्येत तत्र स्वांशः परस्य यः. The association mentioned here refers to a connection with the modes of nature as their controller. Thus, the particular Gunavatar, who is a Swamsha of the Supreme Lord, does not actually contact the material modes. How can the Supreme Person have a connection with the modes of material nature? According to Srimad Bhagavatam, just the opposite is the case. Maya stays far away from him, ashamed to show herself his face. Yes, this is true, but as explained here, the connection of the Supreme Lord with the material modes is not like that of the finite living beings, the Jivatmas, who become entangled when they consort with these modes. The three gunas remain subordinate to the personality of Godhead's three gunavatars who regulate the modes control of the material world. In particular, Lord Vishnu can never come under the sway of Prakriti and her modes. First, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead manifested the form of Brahma through the material mode of passion in order to create this universe. Then the Lord manifested his form as Vishnu, the form of sacrifice and the protector of the Brahmanas and the religious duties to maintain the universe. And when the universe is to be annihilated, the same Supreme Lord employs the material mode of ignorance and manifests the form of Rudra. The greater living beings are thus always subject to the forces of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So that's from the 11th canto. In this verse, the great yoga master Drumila describes Brahma as connected with the mode of passion. Lord Shiva is connected with ignorance. But he describes Vishnu without any mention of a connection to goodness or the other material modes. Atra guna sambandha anulekhat. So he's not connected with any of the modes of material nature. The Gunavatar of Vishnu is a Swamsha expansion of Godhead, always situated in transcendence, free from all coverings of false material identity. But when the Supreme Lord chooses to associate with the modes of passion and ignorance, he becomes Brahma and Shiva. Similarly, when he chooses to associate with atheism, he becomes Buddha, and in association with deviant behavior, he becomes Rishabha. In reality, however, the Supreme Lord is never contaminated by the material modes. Pakhanda dharmena iva buddha, kadacharena iva rishabhascha. Vastudastu. But in reality, however, the Supreme Lord is never contaminated by the material modes. However, worshipping the Supreme Lord disguised as Brahma or Shiva cannot bring about full realization of dharmartha and kama, and it certainly cannot lead to moksha. One cannot argue that if Brahma and Shiva are two forms of Vishnu, then why is it that I don't get dharmartha, kama, moksha by worshipping them independently? That is because one needs to worship the Supreme Lord in the form that he factually possesses. As Lord Shiva says in the Harivamsha, Muktiprata Sarvesham Vishnureva na samshayaha. Lord Vishnu is undoubtedly the only bestower of liberation for everyone. The material mode of goodness has no power over Lord Vishnu. He is not in direct contact with it, but controls it merely by his desire. Therefore, real benefit comes only from worshipping him directly. In the words of the Vamana Purana. Yes. Brahma Vishnisha Rupani Trini Vishnu Mahatmanaha Brahmani Brahma Rupasa Shiva Rupa Shivestitaha Prathagdeva Stito Deva Vishnu Rupi Janardana. Brahma, Vishnu, and Isha. Isha is commonly used as a name of Lord Shiva. Are three forms of the Supreme Soul Vishnu. Lord Janardana situates his Brahma form in Lord Brahma and his Shiva form in Lord Shiva. The same Supreme Lord, however, remains himself in his Vishnu form. The ruler of all three modes of nature is indeed the one Supreme Lord, but he expands himself as each of the Gunavataras. Now here, one might then say, well, he's in contact with Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. So then, aren't they all equal? No, they're not equal. Contact with the mode of goodness is more beneficial than contact with passion and ignorance. Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the raw wood. And fire is still better, for by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion is better than ignorance, but goodness is still better, for by goodness we can come to realize the absolute truth. Firewood, smoke, and fire are respectively ineffective, imperfectly effective, and fully effective for executing Vedic sacrifice. That's why this example is appearing in this Bhagavatam verse 1.2.24. Similarly, the modes of tamas, rajas, and sattva, with their bewildering, agitating, and enlightening influences, respectively, block realization, allow partial realization, and facilitate full realization of the supreme truth. So it is just like tamoguna is like being in a dark, being at night with no light around, whereas rajoguna is like on a cloudy day, when it is really cloudy or misty, then you get to see something. But Sattva-guna is like having the sun fully in full blast. You get to see everything clearly. So they have their three respective influences on the conditioned souls. It is therefore appropriate to say that the personality of Godhead in its expansions as the controllers of tamas and rajas do not bestow genuine success, but that he does bestow this success in his role as the controller of Sattva-guna. Straight from Sri Baladevi Dev. Tatra Brahma. Hiranyagarbha Sukshmotra Sthulo Vairajya Sangyakha Bhogaya Srishtaye Chabhut Padmabhur Itisad Vidha. Regarding Brahma, in this world, his subtle form is known as Hiranyagarbha and his gross form as Vairaja. And he also appears as the lotus-born one, Padmabhu. He accepts these forms for furthering his enjoyment and for creating the universe. He appears in two different ways as follows. Nirupita Brahmadayas Traya Ishakotaya Eva. This Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are actually Vishnu Tattva. Don't jump into conclusions now. The Brahma, the Vishnu Tattva Brahma, who is the super soul of Brahma, is certainly Vishnu Tattva. Similarly, the Vishnu Tattva Shiva, who is the inner controller of Lord Shiva, is obviously a Vishnu Tattva. That is why that evidence was given. He enters into Brahma, he enters into Shiva, but he does not enter into Vishnu because he is Vishnu. He's himself, he situates himself separately. Atha Vakya Vishesha Labhena, Vishesha Pratyaya, Tad Bodhanaya, Pratak Tad Nirupanam. But still, there are some specific purposes of each of these three Gunavataras, and therefore Rupa Goswami Prabhu now begins to describe each of them. The super soul of Brahma has been described earlier. So here he's going to describe the living entity Brahma, Jivatma, not the Brahma. Not Brahma is also a name of Vishnu. You should be aware of this, of a particular form of Vishnu. Similarly, Shiva is also a name of a particular form of Vishnu. There is also the principle of Sarvanamavan, which comes in Govinda Bhashya. The Supreme Lord, he has loaned out many of his names for different deities. So, for instance, for Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, Brahma is Lord Vishnu's own name originally, but he allows them to also use the name Brahma. So he allows various names. So these different demigods' names that we find, Chandra, Surya, all of these are originally Vishnu's names. So except for a few names, which he keeps, the remaining names he gives it away for usage. So, but the Brahma that Rupa Goswami is going to describe now, which we just read the verse, that refers to the living entity, Jivatma. It's not the inner controller of Brahma. When we talk of Brahma, we are talking of this particular one who creates, who is a living entity. But he is empowered by his super soul, who is the original Vishnu Tattva Brahma. In other words, he's a Vishnu Tattva who has that name Brahma. So please don't get confused about all these things. The moment you want to enter into a study of all the different forms of the Lord, you should understand you're already going to face an information explosion. So I don't want to hear all these kinds of things. Oh, but what is this? Just have to patiently read it repeatedly and you'll be able to understand it. Not complicated, but it just takes some time to get used to it. That's all. The personality of Godhead himself sometimes plays Brahma's role, and sometimes he empowers a jiva for this purpose. The previous verses describe the first case, and now the second is being described. Hiranyagarbha is the name for Brahma in his subtle body, the Mahatattva. Only the Supreme Lord can see him in that form. The demigods cannot. Sukshmaha, Mahatattva Shariraha, Pareshenaiva Drishyaha, Devadinam Adrishya Ityarsaha. So the Mahatattva is a subtle body of Brahma. Vairaja is the name for Brahma in his grosser universal body. Many yogis meditate on this form. His third body with 4 hands, 8 eyes and 8 arms can be seen by the demigods and other living beings who can then receive benedictions from him. His first purpose for appearing in these forms is his own enjoyment. And his second purpose is to create the universe. Bhogaya adyaha srishtayetu antyaha. He also has another responsibility implied by the word cha to promulgate the Vedas. Adina Veda Pracharayeti Bodhyate. Veda Pracharanaarthaya Brahma Jatash Chaturmukhaha. From Kurma Purana. The 4-headed Brahma was born to disseminate the Vedas. Vairaja eva prayasyat sadgadyartham chaturmukhaha kadachit Bhagavan Vishnu Brahma san srijati swayam. Usually the Vairaja becomes 4-headed Brahma for creating and ruling, but sometimes the Supreme Lord Vishnu himself becomes Brahma and creates the universe. Right? Yeah, okay. Tathacha Padme. So sometimes the Supreme Lord himself assumes the role of Brahma. Actually, Brahma is a padavi, it's a post, which conditioned souls can attain if they are qualified. The most pious conditioned soul is awarded the post of Brahma. But if nobody is available, the Supreme Lord does not decrease his eligibility criteria, nor does he create a committee to rule the universe. Rather, he himself takes charge. This is actually very nice, because if at all you are in a situation where you don't know who can take charge, you can always pray to Krishna. You yourself take charge. Happily, he'll take charge. Tathacha Padme bhavet kvachin mahakalpe brahma jivo kripasanai kvachit tatra mahavishnu brahmatvam pratipadyate iti. Thus the Padma Purana states, in some Mahakalpas, a Jiva becomes Brahma due to the exalted quality of his worship of the Lord. And in some Mahakalpas, Mahavishnu assumes the role of Brahma. So here, the name Mahavishnu refers to Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Obibranam Prabhus. Brahmano Dvairupya Pramanam Bhavediti. Mahavishnu Garbhodakashaya. Okay, this is from Sri Baladeva Bhushan himself. Okay, then we come to the next text. Up to which verse?
27.
27 is Lord Shiva. Including 27? Vishnu Riyatra Mahakalpe Srishtritvam Cha Prapadyate Tatra Bhunkte Tam Pravishya Vairaja Saukhya Sampadam. ato jivatvam aishyam cha brahmana kalabhedatah. Okay, good. During a Mahakalpa in which Vishnu becomes the creator, Vairaja Brahma enters within him and enjoys all facilities for material happiness. Thus, Brahma is sometimes a Jiva and sometimes a Supreme Lord. Nanu yatra Mahakalpe Mahavishnu Brahmasya tatra Jiva Lakshanasya kvachit tishthet na cha asau muktim prapnoti iti vachyam. Tanmuktes. Okay, wait, we are going to come to this. In the Kalpas, when Vishnu himself becomes Brahma, what does the Jiva Brahma do? Does he achieve liberation at the very beginning of his life? No, Brahma can be liberated only after living out his lifespan of 100 years. As Dvaipayana Vyasa states in the Vedanta Sutras, the appointed administrative demigods must remain in their post for the duration of their terms, even if they are fit to become liberated from material existence. You signed up, you're not allowed to resign. This verse answers the question posed above. In Kalpas, when Vishnu is Brahma, the Jiva Brahma enters the spiritual body of Vishnu with both his Vairaja body and his subtle Hiranyagarbha body. Okay. This Jiva Brahma thus enjoys the offerings the demigods make in his name. Just see the generosity of the Supreme Lord in granting his servant the ability to enjoy the advantages of his position without having to take any responsibility. Thus, the role of Brahma can be taken by either a Jiva or God. So it looks like if Krishna so desires, even if there's a Jivatma, the Supreme Lord himself becomes Brahma. Oh, that's great. So basically, you're sitting on the throne, and the Lord does everything, and you get all the credits. That must be, maybe the Lord doesn't want Brahma to do anything other than Navavita Bhakti. That Brahma. There are different Brahmas. Some Brahmas are absorbed in piety, karma, some in jnana, some in bhakti. So there are all these different situations. So if that Brahma is has a desire to engage in pure bhakti, pure sadhana bhakti, then the Lord makes an arrangement like this. Interestingly, I was reading last year, I was reading about Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj is described as the one person who executed all the 9 items of bhakti. So he had taken shelter of all the 9 items of bhakti. So then Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his Bhagavatam commentary, he deals with this. I don't think he deals with it in 9th canto. I remember seeing it. He deals with this and he says, then how did he manage a whole kingdom? How he can be all the time absorbed in the activities of Navavita Bhakti and still be a bona fide king? So then he answers that that is because his pratinidhis, his representatives, they took charge of the kingdom and he was relieved. So in name, he is the king, but in reality, he is just absorbed in Navavita Bhakti. So this might have something to do with that. ईशत्वापेक्षया तस्य शास्त्रे प्रोक्तावतारता समष्टित्वेन भगवत् सन्निकृष्टतयोच्यते अस्यावतारता कैश्चित् आवेशत्वेन कैश्चन. The revealed scriptures speak of Brahma as an avatar because his form comes directly from the Supreme Lord. Other authorities say he is an incarnation because of how intimate he becomes with the personality of Godhead while ruling the universal body. Still others describe him as an Avesha incarnation. So there are different opinions on Brahma's position. There are various opinions as to why Brahma is called an avatar. In the most complete sense, he is considered an incarnation because he appears directly from Lord Garbhodaka Shayi Vishnu. Some Vaishnavacharyas consider Brahma an avatar because of his close association with Lord Vishnu in sharing the Virat form with him. Garbhodaka Shayi Vishnu embraces Brahma's universal body, infusing it with the potencies of creation. The finite soul Brahma and super soul Vishnu retain their separate identities, but the two become intimately associated like a mixture of water and milk. Kshiraniranyayena Sampritchiyeta. Other acharyas explain that Brahma is an Avesha incarnation like certain other jivas. The reason why they say like that, Bhagavan Bhaswat Prabha Nyayena Tam Avishya Srishti Karyam Karoti. They say the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enters into him for the purpose of conducting creation, like the reflection of sun or like the illumination of the sun. Natu Uktanyayena Sampritchiyeti. Jivatva Pakshe Tatra Avatara Shabdo Gauna Ityartha. In any case, when the Supreme Lord, rather than an appointed Jiva, is playing the role of Brahma, he is more fully an avatar. When the living entity is referred to, the living entity who is in charge of, who is playing the role of Brahma, is referred to as an avatar, then it should be understood to be metaphorical or secondary. Tathacha Brahma Samhitayam Bhaswan Yathashma Shakaleshu Nijeshu Tejasviyam Kiyat Prakatayadyapi Tadvatatra Brahmaya Esha Jagadanda Vidhana Karta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Iti. Thus in the Brahma Samhita, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion Brahma receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the names of Suryakanta, etc. So notice that here the example is of specific gems which reflect the light of the sun. When they reflect the light of the sun, they may be secondarily be considered to be sun-like. So like that, Brahma is considered to be avatara-like. That is simply because he is reflecting the Lord's powers for creation. This verse of Brahma Samhita describes how a jiva with exceptional karma is empowered to take birth with the whole universe as his body and to use that universal form to create the various worlds and the individual bodies that inhabit them. Avesha Paksham Udaharati. So now here, there are various opinions about Brahma's position. One idea is that he is an Avesha incarnation, like certain other living entities. So he now gives evidence for that here with this example straight from Brahma Samhita. Such empowerment is further explained below in the discussion of the third Gunavatara, Rudra. Uruvakya antaramcha Rudra Rupena Drashtavyam. We'll see. Lord Rudra also has Shaktavesha forms. Garbhodashayeno syabhut janman nabhi saroruhat kadachit shuyate nirat tejo vatadikadapi. Brahma is born from the lotus growing from the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. But the scriptures say that sometimes he is born from the Garbha water itself or from another source such as fire or wind. As the Supreme Lord wills, from time to time Brahma may appear in ways other than from the lotus sprouting from the Lord's own navel. Because the Lord goes on manifesting Brahma every time for each universe. And we know that our grandmother doesn't cook the same dosa every time, the same way. So it is just a routine activity. Srila Sanatana Goswami reveals the glories of Lord Brahma in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives a description of Brahma as Gunavatara in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srimad Bhagavatam presents a condensed account of the of the Bhagavatam that Brahma presented to his son Narada. The Bhagavatam also describes Brahma's performance of austerities under the guidance of Garbhoda Vishaya Vishnu and his subsequent vision of Vaikuntha. And the Bhagavatam relates how Brahma created the material universe. Then we come to Sri Rudra. Sri Rudra. Rudra Ekadash Vyuhas Tatashtat Tanurapyasau Prayah Panchananastriyaksho Dashabbahu Rudiriyate. Regarding Sri Rudra, Rudra has 11 expansions and he also has 8 bodies. He is usually described as having 5 faces, 3 eyes, and 10 arms. As the scriptures relate, that the role of Brahma is sometimes assumed by Vishnu and sometimes by an empowered Jiva. So various scriptures relate that the role of Rudra or Shiva is also assumed in these 2 ways. Rudra as a direct expansion of Lord Vishnu is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto verse. Sattvam Rajastamayati, the verse that we saw. In a verse that describes the Supreme Lord assuming the forms of all 3 Gunavataras. Tam Tavat Aha Rudra Ekadasha Vyuga iti. The original Rudra expands himself in many forms in the material world, including as the 11 Rudras. So there is a statement from the Mahabharata. Ajaikapad Ahirbadhno Ahirbradhno Virupaksho Tharaivatah Harascha Bahurupascha Triambakascha Sureshwaraha Savitrascha Jayantascha Pinaki Chaparajitaha. Lord Shiva appears as Ajaikapat, Ahirbradhna, Virupaksha, Raivata, Hara, Bahurupa, the best of demigods, Triambaka, Savitra, Jayanta, Pinaki, and Aparajita. He also expands in 8 bodies, Tatha Ashtattanurti. He also expands as the 8 Shivalinga incarnations, presiding over 8 elements who are worshipped as deities. Prithvi, Salilam, Tejo, Vayurakashamevacha, Surya, Chandramasau, Soma, Yaji, Chetyashtamurtayaha. His 8 deity forms preside over earth, water, fire, air, ether, the sun, the moon, and the offerer of Soma sacrifice. Prayaha. Mostly, usually, is usually described as having 5 faces, 3 eyes, and 10 arms, because sometimes he is seen with only 1, as in that form seen within the layer of water that covers the universe. Kvachit jiva visheshatvam harasyoktam vidheriva tattu sheshavadevastam tadamshatvena kirtanat. Some scriptural statements indicate that Lord Hara is an individual jiva, like Brahma. These are descriptions of partial expansions of Hara, similar to some statements about Anantashesh. Atha jiva kotitvam tasyaha kvachiditi. So he comes under the category of, there are some scriptural statements which indicate that he comes under the category of the living entity, jiva. We'll come back to this. Lord Chaitanya taught Sanatana Goswami that Lord Rudra is neither Vishnu nor a finite jiva, but is in a special intermediate category of his own. This refers to the form of Lord Shiva known as Adi Shiva. Normally within ISKCON, Prabhupada referred to this personality as Shiva, Sada Shiva. So when within ISKCON, we prefer to identify the original form of Shiva as Sada Shiva. But Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan in his commentary on the previous 2 verses uses the word Ishvara in referring to Rudra's original appearance in this world, indicating virtual equality with the personality of Godhead. This is just full of quotations. Lord Anantashesh, the bedstead of Mahavishnu and the direct expansion of Godhead, can empower a jiva to act in his name so that the jiva can hold the material planets on his serpent hoods. Lord Rudra similarly empowers jiva representatives. So these are Shiva Shakti Aveshas. These are not the original Sadashiva. These are described in many scriptures, beginning with the Rig Veda. Yam Kamaye, Tam Ugram Krinomi, Tam Brahman, Tam Rishim, Tam Sumedham. Whomever I choose for the role, I empower as a fearsome Rudra, a Brahma, a sage, or a wise man. Madhvacharya says this is spoken by Lakshmi Devi. The Narayana Upanishad states, Atha Purusho Havai Narayano Kamayata Prajasvijayeti. Then the Purusha Narayana desired, let me create progeny. The Upanishad continues, Narayana Brahma Jayate, Narayana Rudro Jayate, Narayana Prajapatir Jayate, Narayana Indro Jayate, Narayana Dashto Vasavo, Narayana Dekadash Rudra, Narayana Dvadasha Adityaha. From Narayana Brahma was born, from Narayana Rudra was born. From Narayana, Prajapati was born. From Narayana, Indra was born. From Narayana, the 8 Vasus were born. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras were born. From Narayana, the 12 Adityas were born. The Maha Upanishad states, Eko Havai Narayana Asina Brahmane Shanaha Tasya Dhyanantasthasya Lalatat Triyakshaha Shulapanihi Purusho Jayata Bibrat Shriyam Satyam Brahmacharyam Tapo Vairagyam. There was only Narayana, not Brahma or Shiva. While he was absorbed in meditation, there appeared from his forehead a person with 3 eyes, holding a trident in his hand and displaying the opulences of truth, celibacy, austerity, and renunciation. The Rudras depicted in these and the following passages are empowered jivas since they take birth and have other limitations. So Jivatvam, yes. फिर वाक्य जन्मोक्ते ही हरस्य जीवत्वम् प्रजापतिं च रुद्रं चाप्यहमेव सृजामि वै तौ हि मां न विजानीतो मम माया विमोहितौ. I alone create Prajapati, Brahma and Rudra. Both of them bewildered by my maya fail to know me in truth. Brahma Shambhus tathaivar kash chandramas cha shatakratuh evamadhyas tathaivanye yukta vaishnava tejasa jagat karyavasani tu viyujyante cha tejasa with tejasascha te sarve panchatum upayanti vai. Brahma, Shambhu. Shambhu is a name for Lord Shiva. The gods of the sun and moon, Indra and others are empowered with the potency of Lord Vishnu. When the period of the manifested material creation ends, their powers are withdrawn. They become powerless and their forms return to the material elements from which they were born. Anyatha etani kupyayuhu. Drishtantotra virodhir. No, sorry. Drishtantotra vidheri. Iveti sheshavaditi sharnginaha. Shayyarupaha. Tad adhara shakti shesha ishvara kotihi. Bhutaritu tadavishto jivaha. Is it coming in the next? Okay, let me explain. There's a little bit more. Here, the example has been given to like Brahma, like Shesha. Let's get back to this. So, like Brahma, like Shesha. So then he explains. Sharanginaha, Shayyarupaha, Tat Adhara Shaktihi, Sheshaha, Ishvara Kotihi. The Ananta Shesha, who is the bed of Lord Sharangi, Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, the one who possesses the power of sustenance, Ishvara Kotihi, he is a Vishnu Tattva. Bhudharitu Tadavishto Jivaha. But the one who is holding the Bhumandala, that is a living entity who is empowered by that Ananta Shesha, the Vishnu Tattva Ananta Shesha. Iti Paratra Vyaktam Bhavi. This will become clear. This will be revealed later on. Tad Amshatvena iti, Tad Swamshatvena, Tad Vibhinnamshatvena cha Puraneshu Abhidhanat. So because he is Tatam Shatvena. So because there are descriptions of expansions, both types of expansions, plenary expansions and partial or separated expansions in the Puranas. So all of that is being reconciled by Srila Rupa Goswami here. Okay.